He's eating right now.
Yo,
Hey, that's not how it was supposed to happen.
how is it supposed to happen?
I was supposed to finish this first.
Yeah, and I was supposed to start this. It's the 50th episode of The Ride with Chevy and Nasty Sheldon. Congratulations. It's our 50th episode. That's pretty cool.
That is pretty good, isn't it? Like that's I don't know what that is in like radio, how many radio shows we have, but I'm pretty excited that we took this thing from 2 years ago, like literally just messing around to the point that we've now got 50 episodes. And to celebrate and commemorate our 50th episode, even though Chev reneged on his poutine bet with me for winning the CFL picks this year, we decided to treat ourselves to a little bit of poutine. And if you see mine here, Chev, I know this is probably sacrilege to you Quebecers that love your pure gravy and curds. This is from Blowers and Grafton. It's a donair poutine. So you got the donair meat, the sweet sauce, the garlic sauce, some tomatoes, and it is absolutely delicious.
Well, you know, I'm not going to say it's not delicious, but that's not poutine. Poutine is this right here. For tilting our cameras, look at that right there. Quebec cheese curd, fries, gravy from Meltwich, and especially for our friend, look at that, Rubio 50th. Let me have a bite, Sheldon. This is our toast to us. We toast in a different way. Let me have a bite. If you guys got poutine out there, I don't know if you have poutine handy. Most Canadians have poutine like in their back pocket in case of a natural disaster, but it's our 50th episode. Lots going on. We're going to take a couple of bites and we'll be back on the flip. Welcome to The Ride, episode number 50. Thanks for joining us.
And welcome. Yeah, there you go, Chef. That looks so good. I'm like, it's like sometimes when I'm cooking and eating, I like to watch cooking shows, and just watching you eat while I eat poutine, I'm kind of excited about what yours tastes like. But welcome back to episode 50 of The Ride with Chevy and Nasty, brought to you by WeDrone YYC Media, by Performance Freight Management, and our new sponsor, Chevy.
YYC Business. Not only are they a sponsor, but you can find us on that business platform, caters to local business. In fact, we're all across Canada on the YYC Business platform because they also own the airport code like YUL Business, YEG Business, YVR Business, any airport code in Canada and business. They own the rights, and they're a streaming platform for local businesses there. And you're going to find Chevy and Nasty there. Guys, welcome to The Ride. We know a lot of you are joining us. We got Daryl, Bruno, Jamin, a whole bunch. I don't know if Rubio's here, but if Rubio is here, he's probably so dialed into the election. He has no clue that this yummy poutine. I'm going to have one more bite. Because it is episode number 50. Jay McNeil, Calgary Stampeder, wore the number 50 for 14 years. And Mike Singletary of the NFL.
I was just going to say, I got to bring in Mike Singletary. He's the guy that inspired me to play football in the first place. Love Mike Singletary. Yeah. Love Jay McNeil as well. But yeah, we got a lot of things planned for you guys here tonight. For one, it's my son's 17th birthday. So I had a great, awesome birthday day with my son.
Happy birthday, Adric.
I organized and planned Adric. Yeah. And we thought it'd be fun to throw a little pregame show. So we organized an American presidential election for you guys. I'm sure a lot of you guys have been enjoying that leading up to it. But for some of us, I think we have to recognize that 50th anniversaries and 50th celebrations don't always go exactly as planned. And my good friend and co-host, Randy Chevrier, his 50th didn't start off to such a great start today. My phone starts beeping around 6:30 this morning. Chevy's, just pumping stuff out there. And I open it up and I look, oh my God, Chev, tell the story. What happened to you this morning?
First of all, I was pumping out content for the show immediately after calling AMA and calling 911 because I had crashed on the Deerfoot at 5:30 in the morning. I was coming back from Red Deer, so it was I was at Red Deer last night. I went to see my girlfriend Brittany and her kids. We hung out. I knew it was supposed to rain, but I made sure I woke up extra early, and I was going to drive super slow down to Red Deer. And everyone knows that the QE2 can be a very treacherous highway if there's snow. And I woke up this morning, there was snow, but I gave myself plenty of time. Driving about 80 the whole way, which is not typical. Typically, people are flying at 120 to 140. That's kilometers an hour for our American friends. And I got to a point just north of Olds, about an hour from Calgary. A guy was driving 50 and it was super, super slow. And I felt it was dangerous as I saw traffic approaching and there was nothing ahead. So I wanted to pass him to get ahead of him and just kind of slowly creep away. And the minute I hit that left lane, it was all slushy snow. It wasn't icy. It was that wet, slushy snow that just accumulates and just kind of puts a coating on your tires.
Yeah.
And I had my all season tires. I was due for changing into my winters next week.
Of course.
As I shifted lanes, I wasn't going more than 55 to 60K an hour, hit that left lane. And then I just kept skidding right into the left median and the Jersey barrier's coming up. I'm watching it happening. I had time to take a sip of coffee, call my mom, and then hit kind of thing. I was praying that I wouldn't hit it because I knew it was going to just be disastrous. And yeah, if you want to pop that up here, that was the damage. I called AMA for help. They said it was a 4-hour wait. I called 911 because I was actually scared. It was pitch black. I was worried that someone else was going to come off the ditch and kill me because that's what I've seen it, right? I worked as a first responder. I know what happens on the highways when people crash and then people don't pay attention. Like I've seen it firsthand. I didn't want to be that victim. And, but I was stuck. I was pinned against the Jersey barrier. And then at some point, I think I was texting you. I was texting, I called Brittany and I was like, you know what? I'm getting this car out of here. And it's a 2-wheel drive on all season tires. And I'm on a slant on the snow. Man, I spent an hour just going like inching forward slowly along the shoulder until, and like getting up, sliding down until eventually I got a little patch of something and I popped on the highway. But it was dangerous, man. Like, what if I popped on the highway into oncoming traffic and that was my only chance as I was pinning it, right? But I made it to Olds, which was just about probably a 10-15 minute drive away. And then I took some pictures. I did my insurance claim online, which is awesome. And then I drove it home. But you know what? I'm thankful I'm alive for 50. I was looking forward to this. I was sending you texts and stuff while I was stuck on the road trying to figure out a plan before I decided I'm getting out of there. And then I got home. I went to work. I played ball hockey tonight. And here I am alive for 50.
There you go. My takeaway from that is check your tires and make sure you got AMA, even though they never showed up. So,
4-hour wait.
But we showed up. Chevy showed up. And we've got a great one for you guys tonight. That is if our guest shows up, which I was really excited about this one. So tonight we're going to take a look back at our last 50 episodes. I think Trey's put together a little something special for you guys and for us tonight. Of course, we're bringing in the 300-pound poetry, but a special guest. And I mean a very special guest. Probably one of my favorite Canadian football players of all time, Jesse Lumsden. Right now, do we know is Jesse responded? Is he still on? Is he? Because I know he had some other big news that he's been coming out with the last few days.
Listen, Jesse's a reliable guy. He told me he was going to be on. He told me he was going to have some coffee. Actually, he said I'm going to pop a Zin for this. So we're going to ask him if he popped a Zin for this, and we're going to see if he's on in that second segment. We got our Blitz. We got our studs and duds. U.S. elections happening. Who knows what's going to go on? But Sheldon, let's kick this show off in style with the segment that everyone loves. Maybe some people love to hate because it's so bad, but it's the 300-pound poetry that you love so much.
We are Chevy and Nasty on this November 5th. We don't focus too much on politics because it would definitely cause a rift.
But you can't help but pay attention to the U.S. election. The drama, the tension, enough to give Rubio a bald-headed erection.
Will it be Kamala in relief for an aging Joe Biden or back to Donald J. Trump? With whom are you siding?
Whatever you think should happen down south, should the map turn either red or blue, we can agree that in Canada, we're still stuck with loser Justin Trudeau.
We've got a great 50th show. We've got a great guest. We have so much to discuss and to get off our 300-pound chests.
We are the 300-pound poets. The rhymes have kept flowing. We've been doing this for years, and now our grays are finally showing, especially on my sideburns there. You know, you got some.
Yeah, they're well earned, Chef.
Yeah.
You can't get to 50 without showing some, without showing some wear and tear, right?
Yeah, you can't get to 50 without showing wear and tear. But you know what? We challenged ourselves like over a year, like almost two Octobers ago. Yep. 2 years ago, we challenged ourselves to get back on the air. We did. We had our season 0. We kind of fell off. And then in the fall of last year, we challenged ourselves not only to shoot regular episodes, but to go live every week. And we've built a great community of people. We've had a chance to connect. We have a great chat between yourself, Trey, Daryl. We have a great team. We have some regulars that text us all the time, like Bruno texts us every morning, Rubio during the week. We have regular listeners. It's been a fantastic, like, if anything, this has become a great little group for men and some women to come, have some fun, discuss, and I'm loving it. I am absolutely loving it. What about you, Sheldon?
Yeah, it's the same thing. I mean, like for a lot of you guys, and you guys that have been following us for a while are you get the vibe of the show. It's a place for us just to sit down and chat and let Chevy and I each week we try to pick up a game a little bit. We get producers along the way. We've added in video, but really the reason we do this is to get guys together and just hang out a little bit. I mean, like, you take a look at tonight. There's a contentious election going on. I don't care what side of the argument you're on. There's stress and stuff going on in the real world. This, for me, is just a chance to get men together. And the fact that we and the fact that we've been able to put together this team, which it really does take to pull this off, right? You're bringing in Trey, bringing in Daryl, bringing in Bruno, and then for you guys to be there every week. I mean, this is why I do it. I do it so I can hang out with me and my closest friends that I can count on being there week in and week out, and I'm just honored that we've made it to 50. I love it.
So do you have one favorite moment that stands out for you? Let's name one, because then Trey had prepared something special for us and our fans. But what would be one of your favorite topics, moments? What's your favorite?
I love a couple. I love the guest comments. I love when Rubio comes on and calls you out on your poutine, or when Jamin is out there just totally off topic half the time, giving barbecue tips to Daryl and Ernie. It's the engagement for a guest. I've kind of liked them all. What about you?
For me, thanks for catching me in the middle of the.
Yeah,
I love some of our topics we cover. I love that we cover everything. We're not just sports, pop culture. We do a bit of politics, not too much, but we try. I love, we can go from talking about Grey Cup champions to gray sweatpants and how attractive it is to the opposite sex. So things like that. But like you said, the community we've built is awesome. You know what? Let's not talk about it. Let's show you some of our favorite moments from the past 50 episodes.
Super Bowl Sunday, poetry and country music. What do these three things have in common? Absolutely nothing. But join us today on the ride, and you'll find out why they're connected.
Do you want my crotch in your face, or do you want my butt in your face? So there's a lot going on here. Let's start this off. What do you think? If you're me, do you turn with your crotch to the person sitting, or do you turn the other way and just open yourself out for a tip to tip?
No tip to tip. Tip to tip. That's just wrong. I mean, you and I are close, but we're not that close.
I don't know if you can get a visual. This is actually pretty. I mean, it's very visually appealing. It's more like it's French fries with cheese curds melted over it and bacon, and then the gravy is just gravy. It seems like winter food. Like, if I'm gonna die or I'm gonna go out in the winter, I'm gonna need a lot of this for sustenance before the bears eat me.
Yeah.
This is.
That's Canada.
That's exactly what Canada is. Like, when I was
welcome to the ride with Chevy and Nasty. Look at that man.
There you go.
Hey, what's up, fellas? How we doing tonight?
We're doing well, and you got the hat. I was hoping you're going to keep that on, man. You're looking good.
Look at the shirt. Look at the shirt. Show us the shirt. Hold the shirt up.
Naughty, nice, or whatever, man. Whatever is whatever.
What struck me is his toe out of his sandal looks as big as my foot. And I was like, holy crap. And I look back. I was like, oh my God, I think that's Thor. But you're in Red Deer. And Red Deer, everyone has a beard and tattoos. So I wasn't too sure. So I run into the bathroom. I take a look on Instagram. I'm like, oh my God, it's him. I confirmed. Brittany saw it. She's like, yeah, that's him. A couple of humming and hawing moments. And I said, you know what? I'm going to go back. I chatted with him. Long story short, he was very gracious. He stood up. He shook my hand, Sheldon. And I felt like a 3-year-old holding my dad's hand at the mall, not wanting to get me lost. It was like shaking a baseball mitt. I will never forget the immense power that I felt shaking this dude's hand.
But I do believe that he's got to look in the mirror and he's got to really reach deep inside as to how important is this game to him and what was the difference between his first 5-6 years in the league and where he's at now. He's still a young man.
So Chevy, there it is. You required full reconstructive surgery on your face. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it was the long and short of it. So I got on a bull, and they call it when you get jerked down. So I was trying to reach for the front end with the biomechanics. When a bull comes up, you want to break at the hips and drive to the front end. So when I was driving to the front end, that bull snapped his head and smashed my nose. Ooh. And thankfully I was a wrestler because I had no bone left in my nose. But if I did have a bone in my nose, it would have went right through my brain and I would have been dead on the spot.
God. Yeah. It's The Ride with Chevy and Nasty. I'm Randy Chevrier. He's Sheldon the Paschik, the Nasty Man. We're going to see you all next week. Thanks for joining the ride.
That was awesome.
You know what? There's a lot of that
Great
stuff
job,
that I've kind of
Trey.
forgotten. Trey, that was outstanding.
That was outstanding.
You see what I talk about? You build the team and you bring in talented people, and I'm impressed. I don't even know where he drew that from. Just from, I guess, our reels. But well done.
That was amazing, Trey. Like the Christmas episode, I forgot we dressed up as elves and whatever we did, and yeah, that was awesome. Rubio. Rubio always makes it. Yeah, that's Canada. Jason Bears. So we still don't have a guest yet, and we're not ready to hit the break yet. But yeah, 50 episodes was great. For those of you that have been with us from the beginning, thank you. For those of us that are just joining, welcome. We appear every week on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, X. We're now on TikTok. There's going to be a little TikTok logo. Also, YYC Business. Before we go to a break, Sheldon, this weekend, both our coaching careers, not careers, but our seasons ended on Saturday morning as our Bantam Mavericks team lost in the city finals for Div 3. It's too bad because we had a chance to win, and it felt bad. Hey, like losing that game. Would you agree? Like,
and the honest truth is, it doesn't matter what level you're playing at. Yeah. And we had a disappointing season. We had like tons of injuries at the start. We're playing all first year guys. It wasn't a fun season, right?
No.
Although the guys make it fun. But by the end of the year, with the way that we'd come together and won a game in the playoffs to advance this year. We had a shot, right? Yeah. If everything went right, if we did our jobs, if everything, went our way, we had a shot. And we led that game through 3/4 of the game. Well, I guess they tied it up. Maybe they tied it up at halftime. I really felt we were going to win that game right up to the end. And for me, I do get a thrill out of beating up on a bunch of, 13-year-olds. Yeah, my 13-year-olds will kick your 13-year-olds' butts, right? But what it really was for me was the kids were so excited that if we won this game and won the cities, we'd be going to Edmonton and we'd be taking a bus. Yes. It would be a road trip. It would be, stopping at McDonald's and watching movies and all of the shenanigans that go on with sitting in the bus.
It'd be a ride.
For sure. It'd be a ride. And for some of these kids, the hockey guys travel a lot, but a lot of these kids that don't play hockey, This is going to be their first major road trip, right? And
Yeah.
I felt bad about that. But
And you know what? It's funny because, me too. Like I had mixed emotions, right? We were Div 3. We barely won a game. And then next thing you know, we're in a city final. And it was like, were we playing the participation bowl? Like, I don't know. Like I was feeling that. But then in the game, when the whistle blows and the kickoff goes, you want to win, right? And that
win your last game. Game.
And I was going to say this, the last game always feels like the last game, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It sure does. But then for me at night, Sheldon, my older son, Brett, plays for St. Francis High School, and they were in the city championship versus Ernest Manning on their way to provincials this weekend. They won. It was a 21-22 or 22-21 for Ernest Manning. Ernest Manning kicked a rouge to go ahead with 1 minute left in the game, about 1:10 minutes.
That's 3 weeks in a row that we brought up the rouge.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. So they're at the 40-yard line. Their kicker can't kick the field goal. So they elect to punt it through the end zone, and he blasted through the end zone. So they're up by 1 point, forcing St. Francis to do a 2-minute drill in 1 minute. Sheldon, the Shouldice Ted Hellard Field was packed. The fans were going nuts. The Ernest Manning fans were loud. They were up by 1. They're about to win the cities. Francis slowly driving downfield. They're in position, third down, no time on the clock to kick a game-winning 43-yard football of 43-yard field goal. Watch what happened here. Watch what happened here.
Wow.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie. I just got goosebumps. I didn't know that was the video that Trey was showing. I sent him another one.
Yeah.
I didn't know that was out there. I got goosebumps. So happy for St. Francis Browns senior football team. They're off to provincials. This is the first time they've won cities in 5 years. Very happy for my son. Of course, we're going to be cheering them on this weekend. They are playing LCI from Lethbridge is coming to Calgary to play at Shouldice at 4 p.m. on Saturday afternoon. And then the winner of that either goes to, I believe it's Raymond, to play the very strong Raymond team. I think they're the Comets, or Henry Ainley in Edmonton, another powerhouse. So looking forward to that. Great weekend. Sheldon, we're going to take a break here. I just want to make sure that you know, Sheldon, I think about you all the time. I know I didn't get you poutine, but I did prepare a little present for you on the way into break.
Dear platonic soulmate, there need to be more fairy tales about soulmate friends like us, where they find each other and everything just makes more sense after, where they meet and immediately know that they were meant to know each other. There needs to be more love stories about platonic friends who found each other at just the right time. And they're not complex or grandiose storylines. They meet and they know. They meet on playgrounds and in school and at work and at bars and at the gym. And they talk on the phone and trust each other and truly don't know how they would have gotten through some of the hard parts without having the other there with them. More fairy tales about soulmate friends like us, and there would be montages of laughter and tears and confusion and too much wine, and it wouldn't be unattainable or unbelievable. It would just make sense and fill you with gratitude while you watch. Love stories about platonic friends who sit on couches in silence and go for dinner and get on airplanes and go for drives and give tough love that's still real love that's going to last until the end of the earth with their whole entire heart. They say people come and people go, and I've seen it before. It just doesn't apply here. Not in this story. These kinds of soulmates don't go. They live in your heart forever, like a fairy tale. A beautiful platonic fairy tale that stands the test of time.
Performance Freight Management is a global logistic freight shipping company that will handle the entire shipping process for any package to any country. Whether it be a simple truck shipment from your office to Toronto or your company importing generators from China, PFM Freight handles it all. We have the expertise and technology to handle any shipping requirements. Skip the guesswork and let us take the shipping pain off your plate.
Experience our new fundraising event, Ignite the Night YYC, this November when we bring the fire hall to the Big 4 Roadhouse. Featuring a firefighter challenge, live entertainment, and fabulous food and drink. Tickets and sponsorship opportunities available now. Support the Calgary Firefighters Burn Treatment Society. Ignite the Night YYC this November. Help us help those who have experienced a life-changing burn injury.
Welcome back to the ride with Chevy and Nasty. Thank you all for joining us, guys. So many of you here tonight with us. The beauty of live production is that you get Chevy and Nasty unscripted, raw. Sometimes you get us off on a tangent because it's real time. It's real. Like, I got into a car accident this morning. If we recorded this on a Monday and released it tonight, you would not know about it. So, that is the beauty of live radio. Unfortunately, we cannot track down our guest. Doesn't mean he's not coming, but we're going to roll on. We're going to ride on without our passenger. Sheldon, first of all, what did you think about my little gift to you about the
dude? I was in tears. I had the tissues going. That was really, Chevy. I'll tell you what, you're a sweet guy, man. That you surprised me with that one for sure. I didn't see that coming. And you had me at platonic.
Right? I told Trey we had to do that. We had to do something to surprise you. My other gift to you was going to be our guest tonight, Jesse Lumsden. He was one of your favorite football players. And again, I'm not giving up hope, but I'm going to shift mid.
I'm going to stop you there for a second. You know what this is feeling like a little bit. It feels like, that kid in grade school that wanted to have an awesome birthday party. And, maybe he wasn't one of the in kids or the cool kids, but he told everybody that Iron Man was going to be there.
Yeah.
Right. And everybody's all excited. I get to see Iron Man. Iron Man's going to be there. Tell my friends, I'm bringing my friends. And then you show up to the party, Iron Man's not there.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
no, that's a great analogy, but I will caution this. We both know Jesse. We've had him on our show in the past. For everything that, I spoke to him this week, the indication was he was going to be joining us. I got into a car accident this morning. I'm here. I managed to get out. We don't know what happened. So, we'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Hopefully he's okay. Hopefully maybe it was a little bit too late and the Zin didn't kick in. But that being said, it doesn't matter because the ride rolls on. The ride always rolls on. And we are ready for you guys. So what we're going to start with now, Sheldon, I think we're going to go right into the Chevy and Nasty Blitz.
Sure, let's do it. Oh,
there we are. So first question, Sheldon.
Yes, sir.
What do you got for me?
I need a second because it's not here. But it was an election related question. So I'm just going to ask you this. As of the showtime start here tonight, it looked like Donald Trump was doing pretty darn good, better than a lot of the critics expected. But as we know, anything can happen between now and tomorrow morning, regardless of who wins. Do you think this is going to be one of the years where people are just kind of tired of the arguments and we're going to see a real, just kind of a peaceful shake hands and accept the outcome? Or is this going to be another Armageddon about to come where we're going to see rioters? You're going to have to shut off your social media and feel like the whole country is burning to the ground.
Yeah, you know what, Sheldon, I would like to say that people are ready to shut it down, but I got to think there's a certain faction of people, extremists on both sides, that I don't think they want to see that. I don't think they want to see peaceful resolution to votes and elections. I think the chaos, I think people thrive on the drama and the chaos these days. I think it's become as much sport and spectacle as sport and spectacle. It's no longer just politics. It hasn't been for a while. If I was going to point my finger to someone, I would say Donald Trump is probably responsible for a lot of the issues in modern politics. He talks dirty, he fights dirty, he politics dirty. The name, like, he brought it to a level where the only way to beat him is to get to that level, and he made politics ugly. And people can argue with me a different way and say that I'm wrong and I'm a liar, but I know what I seen and I hear what I saw. And if that makes sense. So
I'll tell you what. Yeah, he will. His side will take it. And my thing is, if he loses,
he will, and he did.
He's going to take it to the courts. Yeah, but let's not forget though. Like, I know you can tell a person's take on this by where they get their news from. So I remember 2016. What's the first thing that happened? A bunch of Republican senators got shot at a baseball game by a wacko Democrat fan. I mean, people on the extremes are crazy. Last time, 2020, they're the protests at the Capitol, but both sides, I think, are capable of it. The Democrats like to riot, and you'll get like billions of dollars in burning stores and things like that. The Democrats or the Republicans, they don't tear down cities, but they go straight to the source. When you get them fired up, they mean business, and they So what's going to happen tomorrow? I don't know. Either way, I'll tell you this: you guys, if you follow us, you know who we're cheering for, right? And whichever one wins, it's going to be fine, folks. It's going to be fine.
I will say that today I was listening a little bit early, and then I kind of tuned it out because I was busy today, so I didn't really know exactly where it was going. But early indications were that there was a lot of Russian interference into the elections, like telling people to stay away from the polling booths or polling stations because of bomb scares that weren't really there. And the FBI was doing a lot of, I guess, counter propaganda and information because some direct Russian influence. I don't know. Did you hear anything more about that? Or
no? But Russia's been doing that for the last several election cycles, right? They get in there on social media, and everybody thinks they're picking a side, but they're not picking a side. They've got bots on both and people on both sides just trying to stir the pot. They're trying to make us feel that we can't trust our results or make us feel the other side's the enemy. And you know what? There's a certain percentage of the population that gets absolutely riled about that.
We talked about that. We talked about it in one of our episodes last year, speaking about 50 episodes, when we talked about Captain America Civil War. And when Baron Zemo said the way to destroy a nation is not to point guns and bombs at it, it's to allow itself to tear itself up from the inside. And that's been gradually happening for the last 10 years. I think that Trump was, I don't think he began the divisiveness in the United States, but he sure was the short fuse that lit a lot of it.
What I love about the show? This is a Blitz. This is supposed to be a short segment. Now we're going to fight over this. And I'm going to fight you on this one because I've watched the other side. I've watched the last 6 months as Kamala's been doing worse and worse in her interviews and her polls, right? She got the initial surge and then started going down. And right about a month before the election, when they're like, oh my God, we picked the wrong person. We should have had a primary. We should have let people vote for who their president was going to be, because the guy that was supposed to run for president, we called a coup and forced him out. And then we handpicked a person to represent the people. And then when the people didn't like her, we started calling Trump a fascist and Hitler and all the words. And he's like, Trump's a piece of work. I mean, nobody wants that kind of personality leading your country. But the fact of the matter is the left opened up the opportunity for 2 assassination attempts in the last 3 months. And how fast the news cycle goes, we're not even talking about that anymore. And we're right back to Trump is Hitler. Trump's a fascist. He's the one who's getting shot by the peaceful Democrats.
But wherever it is right now, he started us down that, or he started them down that road. And that has actually spilled over into Canada. His type of politics has spilled over into Canada. We see it here in Alberta.
Trudeau started in
especially.
2014, 2015 when he
And
said
Trudeau-
the problem
yeah.
with Canada is it's led by Albertans. He
Yeah,
was the one that divided us 6 months before the election.
Absolutely. And those types of politics spilled over. And I think it really started with that man. I don't like him. And people say, well, he says stupid things. No, he's a, you say he's a piece of work. I say he's a piece of shit. Like, no offense. Would you trust your wife next to him?
Absolutely.
Would you trust?
Yeah.
No way. No way. No way. No.
I would. I know. I'm not saying he's a great guy. I wouldn't want him to be my kid's mentor necessarily, unless he's going to make him rich. And I certainly wouldn't want my kid to emulate his behavior. For me, you know what? Okay, this is totally different than we thought we'd do. For me, here's my perfect world. I can't stand the rhetoric that comes out of his mouth. Right from 2015, 2016. I always thought if this guy would just shut up and take the win off of his strong policy decisions, if he would ever just stay off Twitter, this guy would be amazing, because you know what? His policy is solid. When under a Trump, you didn't have Russia invaded under Obama, and then again under Biden. He defunded Iran. Biden refunded Iran, and they put the money straight into Hezbollah and Hamas, and now we have crises all over the world. And the reason people don't like Trump is the same reason I have a problem with him. He makes mean tweets and he's mean to people.
Yeah.
If I could ever take that out of him and just go off of his policy, that's what I like about him. I like his policy. I think.
I'm not anti-Republican. I'm not anti-Republican. I believe in, again, I've said it many times on this show. I'm a very centrist type of, with my politics, very conservative fiscally, socially, a bit more liberal, but any decision you do has to make business sense when it comes to the business of running a country. And yeah, he does some great things, but I'm sure they could have found someone that has a little bit more integrity when he's representing 200 million people in front of the world. And I think he's a black eye on the society that we try to emulate. Yeah, no one's perfect. That's good. We all know the politics, but he's ugly. He's ugly. And he represents ugliness.
But he saved hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of lives around the world.
Well,
right? Sometimes you need ugly. And again, not as a role model. He is not a role model. Right?
And again, we'll see what happens tomorrow. I think regardless of what happens tomorrow, there's going to be some chaos. I'm not sure which way it's going. You're more dialed into this than I am. But I know that not too much is going to change in Canada, and I'm praying for change in Canada pretty soon, because we need that change up here. We need a different government. We need different leaders. We need some kind of change. But what we're also going to change is our Blitz topic. We're going to go to question number 2. Jason Kelce, famed brother of Travis Kelce, former NFLer with the Eagles, All-Pro, Hall of Famer, blah, blah, blah. TV personality now, probably making more money on TV, more visual with commercials on sports, commentating on games. He was being harassed. He was leaving Penn State game the other day. He walked through a crowd. People were filming him, asking him questions. But there was one young punk that kept trolling him and making gay slurs towards his brother, some real derogatory remarks in relation to him dating Taylor Swift. I don't even know why. Like, if he's dating Taylor Swift, why would you say what he said? And I'm sure you can go online, and we're not going to repeat it here. After several seconds of this kind of barrage and harassment, Jason Kelce turned around, grabbed the punk's phone after it was in his face, took it and slammed it to the ground. I noticed last night, Monday Night Football, he apologized. But did he have to, Sheldon? Or should he have doubled down and owned what he did because he was standing up for himself?
Well, I think we're getting back into the Trump question again. As me as a Kelce fan, yeah, I loved it. I like to see a guy stick up for him. Who do you think you are to say to just come confront a guy on the street like that? Right? That's quite a sense of entitlement. But at the same time, we all know the role model side of things. Did he really have to say it back to him? And did you really have to grab his phone and smash it? I'm surprised they're not already talking lawsuits, because I'm sure there will be at one point. Yeah, you know what? The fan's an asshole. Do I secretly kind of love watching a guy get his comeuppance? Yeah, I do. But was it the right thing? No, man. You got to let that go.
Yeah. And in the moment, I was kind of even like, yeah, good for him. But yeah, you got to. he's now more than just a football player. When he was a football player, I'd be like, yeah, you know what? He's going to go to small claims court, give the guy's phone, pay the guy's phone, probably get a suspension from the league, whatever, some slap on the wrist. Now he's a public figure. He stands to lose a lot more, right? And what I mean by that is he has commercials, Chunky Soup, all these sort of endorsements. Companies get behind people who are safe, that don't flip a switch.
Yeah.
His job as a broadcaster, relies upon establishing that trust and integrity. And so that's where I see he had to kind of pause for thought. And he said, you know what? I confronted hate with hate, and it was wrong. And he understands that. Whether he truly believes that, I don't know, but he said the right things.
But secretly, I think anybody that was being honest would agree it's kind of awesome to see, even if it wasn't the right thing.
Yeah, no, for sure. Pause from the Blitz. We just got a note from our producer. Unfortunately, Jesse won't be joining us tonight. His wife, who many of you have heard of, Helen Upperton, Olympic bobsledder, won medals Olympic. She's also firefighter, one of my colleagues with the CFD. She's in that video that we present for the Ignite the Night. Apparently, she's in the hospital getting some stitches. I don't think it's too serious, and his kids are sick. So he is not going to join us tonight, which is fine. Jesse, all the best. We give you the benefit that we also knew that something must be up.
You called him that. You called him a reliable guy, right? Actually, your foreshadowing on this was pretty amazing. You say, "Hey, stuff happened to me this morning." Well, he's dealing with family stuff tonight. So
yeah, he's dealing with
thanks
family
for reaching out. We'd love to get you on sometime real soon.
We'll get him on because he's such an interesting guy, and he's such a great guy, and we're big fans. And we'll get to that. Sheldon, next question. Do you want to hit it or me?
You know what? Next, why don't you take it? Because I screwed up my notes because I was expecting Jesse here. That was going to be done during the next break.
That's all right. We shift on the fly. That's the ride. I'm taking the wheel now. On Thursday night, New York Jets, we witnessed on a catch for the ages by Garrett Wilson in the end zone.
Yeah.
On Sunday night, Saquon Barkley of the Philadelphia Eagles does a reverse hurdle over a tackler. One of the most athletic feats I think I've ever seen. In 1 week, we've seen two of the most athletic feats on a football field ever. Which one of these feats of athleticism will be talked about more in 20 years?
Okay, this is ridiculous.
Do we have the video, Trey?
Yeah,
can we
have the video
play
for this one? Because if you guys haven't seen this, you have to see it.
Okay, let's check it out. We got the video.
Six for Philadelphia. Hurts has time. Now locates Barkley out of the backfield. Barkley slips two tackles and picks up the first down, jumping up in the air to the 30. A gain of 14 for Barkley.
Out of moves right here, makes the first guy miss. The spin move at the last second. Bro. And then, what taking your run? What is that?
Bro, we got to see this again. This kid is special, man. Just...
Four-man rush. Rodgers to the end zone. And Wilson, can he one-handed and stay in bounds? They say he was out.
The only chance would be the knee if it came down. He has to. Oh, what a catch. Waiting for that other foot just doesn't get down. The knee is close. That's what the crowd is reacting to.
What a grab, though. One-handed.
Oh, my gosh. Ridiculous catch.
The play clock is running.
Yeah, that maybe the shin gets down.
Yeah, I mean, that's unbelievable. First off, I'm not sure I'm a proponent of maybe the shin was down. Like, I don't see a separation between the shin and the knee, just like I don't see it between the heel and the toe. Now, yeah. But that thing aside, that is a Jordan-esque iconic moment of a catch that is going to be on highlight reels for years to come. But are you kidding me? That shot, the move by Barkley, we've seen guys, like, Nick Lewis, when he first started hurdling running backs, and the next hit, he hits him low. But a reverse hurdle after coming out of a spin, like he put like 3-4 moves on before he even got to that. I've never seen. I feel like we're literally seeing the evolution of mankind right in front of our eyes when I see that move. I would have even dreamt of it. Now Madden's got to come up with a button that does that.
Yeah. It's going to be a Madden 26. Yeah, Sheldon, you're absolutely right. Like the Wilson catch, iconic. But you know what? It's always going to be compared to Odell Beckham's one-hand grab. And Trey probably would know this. After replay and stuff, did the touchdown stand, or was he ruled out of bounds? Because if he was ruled out, it stood, hey? Because if he was ruled out of bounds, then I would say it's not the greatest catch of all time, but it stood as a touchdown. But it's always going to be compared to the Odell Beckham catch, and it's always going to be talked about, maybe 1 and 2.
Sure.
I also think the David Tyree catch.
There's a handful of
New
great
York Giants, and when he caught it with the
right?
helmet, like in the Super Bowl, he held the ball to his helmet, like some pretty crazy catches. But like you said, Saquon Barkley's reverse, like there's never been anything
What is that?
like that.
The physics doesn't even make sense to me.
No, it's ridiculous. That will be shown 20 years from now, and people say, remember this guy? Really crazy that the New York Giants let him go to division rivals Philadelphia Eagles. I was listening to Micah Parsons, defensive end for Dallas Cowboys. He has his own podcast, and he was like, thank you, Giants, for being so stupid. That's literally what he said. Thank you for being so stupid. You've unleashed him. Not only did you let him go, he got mad, and now he's playing out of his skull, and he's been doing that forever. Yeah. And this year, the stuff he's been doing since week 1, I was watching him. I think they played the Raiders, and it was kind of or Green Bay. I can't remember who they played, but it was just ridiculous. And good for him. He's making a lot of money in Philadelphia, but he's also an impact player.
For sure. And Chevy, I've got my list now, so I got a question for you. Vernon Adams, the early favorite for MLP in the CFL before the injury derailed his season. He's done everything he could to give the BC Lions an opportunity to be great and compete for the Grey Cup. But with the midseason signing of Nathan Rourke and the first-round knockout of Regina, it appears Vernon Adams' days as a BC Lion are numbered, or are they? Is there a scenario you see him back as the starting quarterback for the Lions next season?
That's a hard one for me to answer, because I think we know the writing is on the wall. We think the writing is on the wall because they signed Nathan Rourke and they made him the highest paid player in the CFL based on what he did 2 years ago. He came in and he's been very underwhelming. And Vernon Adams, who was, like you said, candidate for the MOP early on before he hurt his knee, come back and really was the outstanding player and leader of his team that got them in a position where they could make the playoffs. Now, if you're a GM and a head coach, is this the win now or the win later business? Because this is a scenario. We know on paper, it looks like Vernon Adams is gone, and Dave Dickinson has already got his number on speed dial, because we know that that's the natural landing spot for him. But if you're the BC Lions, and this is, football is the win now business. It's not the, hey, let's see if we can win with the guy that we think can win. Look what happens to so many NFL teams when they draft a quarterback first overall and then they force him to play. Look at Carolina, Bryce Young. Very few big ticket quarterbacks right out of college deliver. Very few. But we've got Vernon Adams, who everyone's comfortable with. It was his team this year. Played well. He didn't choke in the playoffs. He just didn't make enough plays. They either let him go and go to unproven, somewhat unproven commodity Nathan Rourke. I don't know. I think the writing's on the wall. I think he's done, but gosh, if I am...
So let me ask you this then, because you just said every reason why he's the man. If you were the GM, let's just put that hat on you, and they're paying you the money to make this decision. What would you do over the offseason that would let you sleep at night and hope your kids are still continue to be raised in Vancouver?
You're saying if I'm the GM?
Yeah. You just made an argument to keep him. Would you keep him if you were the GM?
If I was the GM, I'm keeping him. And I'm shopping Nathan Rourke around to see if there's interest. I might be shopping him in secret, but I don't know if in the day of insiders and all that, the minute you shop around number 2, you're kind of getting rid of him. But you got a big contract there. And maybe if I'm BC, I'm like, hey, listen, Vernon, we're going to stick with you, but we need a bit of a hometown discount because we want to build the team around you. There's a reason we didn't get to the next round. You give us a solid spot at quarterback, and we want to keep you at this salary. Will you stay signed for us? So I would sign Vernon Adams for a 5-year deal, and I would trade Nathan Rourke. That's what I would do.
Strong. That's a strong call. I do the exact opposite, but that's how you'd have to do it. Vernon, you knew we had to do it, and this is our choice because you can't keep them both on the roster.
Either way, they're both starting somewhere.
But my problem was kind of how it all went down. It was a bunch of unfortunate circumstances. Like you remember, Vernon got injured right around the time they brought him in, to the point where Nathan got one practice before he went into the season, and that's one practice after spending all that time last year and a bit in the NFL and learning a new style of ball and having the NFL voice in your head of what you need to do to stick on. Well, the CFL is different, right? Quarterbacks are quarterbacks, but it's a different game. I think if I'm the BC Lions, if I'm the general manager, I'm certainly not going to my owner saying, yeah, I know we just paid him $800,000, but you know what? You know, it was $800,000 between friends. We can let him go. Right. I'm strongly believing, I have to believe that with a training camp under his belt, an off season to familiarize himself with the city, the players, the game, the film, and then a training camp under his belt, Nathan Rourke is a superior quarterback to almost anybody we see in this league right now. He's right up there with the best of them. I've got to believe that. I'd probably go down. I go down burning and sinking of playing that card. Vernon Adams, I love him. I'm a huge fan. I would love to see him in Calgary. Yeah. But I don't see any way that BC can give up on Nathan Rourke. And I think they'd be wrong if they did.
Yeah. And I think we defer. We defer on that because, I just think that you sign Nathan Rourke. If I'm the GM and I think, you know what did he say 2 years ago? He said the CFL was never his goal, and I don't know if that's changed after his NFL experience where he didn't necessarily get a fair shake, but there's a couple of things there that make me, I question a little bit. And I'm not saying that I'm questioning his commitment and if he's there, but you've got a bird in hand that's winning you football games. It's not like they have Jake Mayer in BC and it's just a natural switch to like they've got one of the best quarterbacks in the CFL that they're going to let walk to play a guy that they decided to pay a whole bunch of money that didn't really do too much. And like you said, he didn't get much of a training camp. He didn't get much time with the guys. So it's going to be an interesting offseason. Like I said, both those guys are going to be starting somewhere next year. There's no scenario where both of them are sitting on bench or either of them are sitting on the bench. And like you said, I think it's going to play out that Nathan Rourke stays in BC. And I do think that Vernon Adams will wind up in Calgary. But those teams and those guys are all done now. We got to look to this week, CFL Eastern and Western finals. We had a great week of action last week. We both picked wrong with the BC Riders game. The Riders at home. They're hot at the right time. Remember when they were losing, they lost 4 or 5 in a row and everybody wanted to fire Corey Mace. And we were talking about them versus the Stamps. And we said, the Riders, they're not that far off. They're one play at the end of the game.
Trevor Harris was hurting. AJ Ouellette was out. They had offensive line injuries. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. And now here they are, commanding performance at home. They're going to Winnipeg, playing the Bombers. And then on the other side, we both picked the Argonauts. But I tell you what, I was watching that game and the Red Blacks started strong. Like it was it started so strong that game wound up being the highest scoring game in CFL playoff history, which is ridiculous. But lo and behold, the Argos win on the strength of a very strong Chad Kelly play and
a couple of defensive pick sixes that didn't hurt either.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But I mean, they were just slinging it. The Argos were slinging it. So let's go to our picks. Let's go to our picks this week, Sheldon.
Well, let me ask you this. Let's start in the East. It's going to be the first game. Let me ask you this. So Chad Kelly is heating up. He did look good. This is he's probably put together a couple of games where it looks like he's building on it and he's leading that team. That defense is incredible.
Yes.
But a year ago, we were having the same argument over the same game. Montreal's got something special in that locker room. Is it enough to take down the momentum that the Argos are building right now?
Yeah, Montreal, they built their way up slowly last year. And you remember you were kind of teasing me whenever I picked them. And I was picking them mostly because they were the underdog. No one gave them a shot, and it was from my hometown. but they are the legit contender this year. They are at the top of the mountain, and someone's going to have to take the food away from them. They survived a bunch of games without Fajardo at the helm, and they still went strong. They still maintained a very strong record, and here they are in command, hosting a game at home. I think this is the thing. I think you cannot match that Montreal crowd. Like when that Montreal crowd is going, and it's going to be sold out, it's going to be pumping at the Molson Stadium. I don't think the combination of that 13th man and that team, I don't think we give enough credit to the Montreal defense. It seems like we're always waiting for Montreal to fail, and every week they prove us different. And I think this is going to be no different. I think my pick for this one, Montreal is coming out on top, and they're going back to the Grey Cup.
Yeah, and this is a tough one for me. I mean, I learned last year not to bet against Montreal. But I'm feeling right now with momentum you talk about momentum, and last year Montreal had all the momentum going into this. They had to play their way in, and then they had to win on the road. I think because they weren't. Toronto was the number 1 seed in the East last year. Were they not? Yeah, because they were virtually undefeated.
Yeah, they were the best team in the league.
I'm on this one. I'm going to this one scares me a lot. But I'm going to differ on you in this one. I'm going to say that what Chad Kelly's building right now, how they've had to fight through, they were the team that had to fight through the adversity. And what I saw from their defense against Ottawa was beautiful. I mean, that defensive line are terrors. And, so I think they're going to be too much for Fajardo to handle this week. So I'll differ from you this week on that one for sure. I'll go with Toronto.
All right, let's go to the West. We got Winnipeg. We got Saskatchewan. It's another Banjo Bowl. This is probably going to be one of the most exciting games of the year because of the rivalry, because of the stakes. Like we said, Saskatchewan's coming on strong, but Winnipeg was struggling early in the year when Brady Oliveira was out. But gosh, they hit their stride, Sheldon, and Mother Nature smiled on them a few weeks ago when they earned the bye into the the final round, or the Western final. These teams are a lot more closely matched than you would think. Sheldon, who are you picking?
Tough one. But you know what I saw from the Riders last week, I'm starting to lose my faith in Collaros and his ability to turn the switch on when the game counts. And I know he wins every Western semifinal, but I think what Trevor Harris, AJ Ouellette, and Corey Mace has got that defense doing right now, I think that the momentum right now is with the Riders, and they're going to just carry over. The Bombers have been on the sidelines for the last 2 weeks. They played a meaningless game. Well, not a meaningless game, but being on the sideline for 2 weeks, and Collaros hasn't been that impressive. I think it's going to be the Riders.
Yeah,
that might be my homer side talking, Chevy, but I want it to happen.
Well, I played for the Riders too, so I could be a homer too. Do I want Corey Mace, my old teammate, to win? Of course I do. Do I want Mark Mueller to have a great outing as an offensive coordinator for the Riders in his first Western semi? Of course I do. But do I think they're going to walk out of Winnipeg with a win? No, I don't. I've bet against Collaros. Anytime I thought Collaros was fading, he rose to the challenge, and now he's healthy. He's got a healthy Brady Oliveira. His defense is ridiculous. They're there for a reason. It's not just because the good teams also make their own luck, and that's why they're there. And I think that Winnipeg is going to be walking out looking for some revenge against Montreal. It's going to be one of those cases where, not that they're looking past this game, but they've been on a mission all year to get back to where they were last year to try to finish business. And I've seen this story play out before. In 2002 and 2003, when I was at the Edmonton Eskimos, I've seen it. And we started off 1-3. We started off, and we went to the Grey Cup, having secured that first round bye. And I think that Winnipeg Stadium, if I said Montreal is going to be rocking, Winnipeg is going to be, it's going to be ridiculous. The ground's going to shake.
It will. But it's all going to depend on if Collaros is focused or not. And right now, I've just been seeing more and more of bad Collaros, or average Collaros. Is still pretty good, but there's that special magic he used to bring that got him to 4 consecutive Grey Cups. I'm just not seeing it.
Yeah,
right?
I don't know.
I'm not seeing it, Chev.
Well, we're going to see something on Saturday between the Riders and the Bombers, between the Alouettes and the Argos. It's going to be exciting. CFL playoff is always exciting. It's always a tough time of year because it's almost over. Also got to point out again, St. Francis Browns, 4:00 p.m. at Shoaldice Park against the LCI team coming up from Lethbridge. A lot of great football this weekend. But let's take a break, Sheldon. As we mentioned to you guys, if you're just joining us, our guest Jesse Lumsden had sick kids at home. Wife had to go to the hospital for something minor, I hope. And we're going to take a break. Remember, if you like the show, like and subscribe to all our channels, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, X, Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. We're also on TikTok now. We got a TikTok, and we're sponsored each week by Performance Freight Management, We Drone Real Estate Media, and YYC Business, which is another platform where you can find our show. It's being carried. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll wrap this show up with some studs and duds, and then a little, again, maybe a salute to 50. We'll see you on the flip.
Performance Freight Management is a global logistic freight shipping company that will handle the entire shipping process for any package to any country. Whether it be a simple truck shipment from your office to Toronto or your company importing generators from China, PFM Freight handles it all. We have the expertise and technology to handle any shipping requirements. Skip the guesswork and let us take the shipping pain off your plate.
Experience our new fundraising event, Ignite the Night YYC, this November when we bring the fire hall to the Big 4 Roadhouse. Featuring a firefighter challenge, live entertainment, and fabulous food and drink. Tickets and sponsorship opportunities available now. Support the Calgary Firefighters Burn Treatment Society. Ignite the Night YYC this November. Help us help those who have experienced a life-changing burn injury.
Welcome back to the ride with Chevy Nasty. I'm Randy Chevrier. Chevy. He's Nasty. Sheldon Napashchuk. I'm wearing my Chevy and Nasty ride shirt provided by our good friend Chris Rubio. He must be dialed in to the US election. All of you joining us, thank you so much. After 50 episodes, we talked a little bit earlier about what we love the most. And again, when I bring it back, I bring it back to the friendship and the bond that we've continued to grow, to the team we've built. I mean, we didn't know Trey a year ago, 50 episodes ago, and now we know Trey, and he's part of my daily talking. Like, I talk to Trey every day. I talk to Daryl every day, which I love because Daryl's a good friend of mine, and we found things to talk about, and that's what the show's become. It's become a common bond to put this thing together. And what's great is, we were supposed to have Jesse Lumsden on tonight. And obviously, we mentioned that there were some issues, and it didn't happen. And we were able to midstream adjust. And that's one of the things I do love about being live, because we are able to adjust. We are able to adapt. And we've done it for 50 episodes. Even when we were back on the fan, half the time you'd be running in from a real estate meeting saying, "Chef, what are we talking about today?" And I throw you a napkin with a couple of ideas and a poem that I sent to your phone, and boom, we had a show. We never ever went, "Oh man, we ran out of stuff to talk about."
Yeah, totally.
So it's been good. It's been fun. I hope we get another 50. I hope we get more guests. On the 100th episode, I guess you could promise me The Rock, and if he doesn't show, it's kind of like the guest I promised you today.
Yeah, I'll promise you The Rock next week after this one. But yeah, Things happen, and that's just it, Chev. We always roll with things, and we're going to continue to roll with things. But with that, why don't I don't know? Are you ready to take on our studs and duds of the week?
Yeah, I'm ready to take on the studs and duds. You want to hit it first? I think you should hit it first.
I'm going to start with a stud, and this is one you actually brought this to my attention. I never even conceived this day would come, guys. U Sports Can West Conference All-Star for kicker is female Maya Turner. And I was like, is this real? And so the first thing that I heard, Chev, when you sent this out to me this morning, I was like,
yeah,
that is really cool. But is it legitimate? Right now, in the time of giving out participation trophies, I went there, and the stats aren't great in U Sport. I had to go search every team. You know what I found? She is the first kicker in 30 years for the Bison to kick over 75% for 2 straight seasons. She's consistent. She's a star. She kicked a 48-yarder against U of S this season in a win. This girl is a real deal. She's a soccer star, got a massive leg, and adapted to the men's football league, and she's absolutely killing it this year. So congratulations to Maya Turner. That was an unbelievable story. That's one of those, once a decade, once in a generation type players to be able to come on and do it. They gave her a chance, and when she had the chance, she delivered. And you know how hard it is to stick on a roster consistently, especially as a kicker, especially as a female. One slip up, and you're on to the next guy. So Maya, good on you. That was amazing. Well earned. Well done.
And again, think about what you said, and no fault to you. You said she was named. I had to check if it was legit, right?
I did,
because it's special. It's special, and it is legit. And what she did, we talked about that kick in the St. Francis game, a 43-yard kick for a high school kid. That's a tough kick, no matter where. And she's kicked many of those, even in the CIS. That's tough. I mean, we're not talking about NFL where guys can boot 61-yard field goals, but what she did is special, not just in terms of her numbers, but the inspiration she's provided, the example she's provided, and Manitoba coach that just retired. I can't even remember his name. Maybe Trey can pop it up, but I know that was his last game last week. Kudos to him, because last year when she had a game-winning kick, he gave her the game ball, and there was a fantastic speech. We actually played it on one of our episodes, just talking about how much harder it is for her to be in that locker room, how much more second guessing there is to anything she does. And, I'm sure on her end, she's just another Manitoba Bison. It's kind of like what I like about she's not trying to be the poster child for women's inclusion in men's sports. She's just doing her thing, kicking football. Yeah, Brian Dobie. And he talked about that, the hurdles she had to overcome to be there in that moment. And then this year being an all-star, I think it's fantastic. I think it's great. It's kind of like, the Black Widow of the Avengers. No one's ever like, hey, look, there's Black Widow. She's a girl and she's an event. No, she's just one of the Avengers. Yeah. And I'm sure how she's seen by her teammates. And I think it's fantastic. But talking about inspiration, talking about example, talking about like showing a population what you can do, where you can go. My stud of the week is going to be none other than Curtis Rourke. We talked a lot about Nathan Rourke, BC Lions quarterback, and the controversy that may be. Well, there is no controversy about Curtis Rourke. He's led the Indiana Hoosiers to a 9-0 record. Canadian quarterback down south. Last week, coming back from a surgery, Sheldon, went 19 for 29, 263 yards passing, 4 touchdowns, and a 47-10 win over Michigan State. They said he is the only QB since 2000 to throw for at least 3 touchdowns in their first 3 Big Ten road games.
Yeah.
Sheldon, you know what that's about.
Dude, I've played plenty of Big Ten teams, dude. Yep, that's an accomplishment.
For a Canadian quarterback to go to the States and do what he's doing, we talked about inspiration to young guys. We talked about, showing what you can do. This guy is putting Canada on the map. His brother did it at Cincinnati, tried to break it into the NFL. This guy's got to be in the Heisman talk, in the Heisman running, for what he's doing. What do you think, Sheldon?
Well, you take a look at Indiana, and they're a hell of a team this year, but they are not a traditional powerhouse. They're a middle of the road, very competitive Big Ten team. But for them to put up these kind of numbers, you know that your quarterback has to be something special. And coming off a hand surgery, for a young man like this to show that kind of poise and focus and discipline to come back and just keep carrying on and winning. What you say the record was with him? Did you say 9 straight?
9-0.
That is incredible. I mean, that is because Indiana's not a powerhouse, but apparently this year they are. So yeah,
they are
good on them. Wow.
Because of him. Sorry to burst your bubble on the Heisman, but Ashton Genty and Travis Hunter are the only 2 in contention. Yeah, and that's Genty from Boise State, the running back that stands up. They say he stands like Michael Myers from the Halloween series. And then obviously Travis from Colorado, where we have Deion Sanders as the head coach. A lot of attention for those guys. But gosh, what Curtis Rourke is doing should have Canadians proud. Should have us on notice. Sure. Yeah, just if you're a proud Canadian and you love when Canadians do well, gosh, you should be paying attention to Indiana. Trey says, shout out to Ashton Genty. The guy is balling out. Like, I think he's leading the NCAA in yards, and he only plays a half of the game because they sit him.
Yeah, and we've been talking about this guy off air a lot this year. I think we're gonna have to do a feature on him next week because that is just unreal.
Well, you know what? How about this? When Jesse Lumsden comes on, because he is really
Lumsden's not coming on.
He's coming on. I just texted him. So he messaged us. I texted him. He said he's really sorry. He's going to do it with us. But when he comes on, he has a lot of knowledge of the running back position. Let's ask him what he thinks. Let's ask him who he thinks is the best college running back he's ever seen. But speaking of studs, like Jesse Lumsden, Curtis Rourke, let's go to our duds. Sheldon, hit us with your dud.
I'll start this one off. And this one, I never understand this one. We've seen so many games where you're playing against Patrick Mahomes, love him or hate him. You all know if he has the ball with a minute left in the game, you're going to lose, right? Mm-hmm. And so last night, you're watching Tampa Bay come from nowhere. Baker Mayfield looked awesome, got the momentum going, 2 straight touchdown drives, took him right down to the 22-second mark of the game or somewhere around there. And scores a touchdown. And here's the decision: do we go for 2, or to win, or do we go for a single to tie it up? And they elected to tie it up and go into overtime. You don't take Patrick Mahomes to overtime. You don't give him the ball with a minute and a half left on the clock. I mean, I get it. Like, well, it's a coin flip. If we don't make the 2-point conversion, the game's over. I'm telling you right now, it's a coin flip in overtime. And this is a shot right there. If Patrick Mahomes wins the coin flip in overtime, you have 0% chance of winning this game. You didn't have any business really being in this game as close as it was anyway. I don't know why players do that. Do you remember there used to be
I don't think it's a player. I don't think it's a player decision. It's a coach's decision.
No, I'm not putting it on Mayfield, but you can see from his reaction here when he loses the coin toss.
Yeah,
he knows what's up. But you remember in the old days, the adage was, when you're at home, play for overtime. When you're on the road, go for the win.
And I never heard that, but I think that makes sense.
Jim Barker taught me that one. His first year with the Stampeders, the very first game of the year, we're playing Montreal Alouettes, and we scored a touchdown to come within 1 with no time on the clock, and we went for it on overtime. We went for it for the 2-point conversion and failed, and we lost. But he says he's going to do that every single time.
Didn't he get fired after that year?
Yeah,
that
was his last. He got a few more games after that one, but he didn't.
Yeah, like a whole bunch of people got fired after that.
Yeah,
I thought.
Totally,
yeah. No. So I remember watching that on the news. I remember watching that on the news because we played you in Labor Day, but they were on the Stampeders pretty hard for that call. I remember that was our Labor Day brawl year. So I remember that very vividly. Watching that game, you guys playing against Montreal, him going for it, you guys failing, and everyone being like, oh no, here we go again, right? He got fired, and then you went to the Matt Dunnigan year. So I don't know if that's the wisest choice, but I do agree with you that you go to overtime, you're doing everything in your power to get to that spot where you have one opportunity to win it. And so again, if they flip the coin, if they win the coin toss, they got to get all the way to a spot where they score a touchdown, then they can win it. Or they don't score a touchdown, and then Kansas City drives back, and either they kick a field goal and they win it. If they go in overtime and they win the coin toss and Kansas City kicks a field goal, or Tampa kicks a field goal, well, Kansas City still has an opportunity to go back and win it. So I guess if you look at it like that, and the odds, like, you are basically one play away from winning it. You
Yeah.
go for two. Yeah, you know what? There are coaches that have done it and they've looked like geniuses. There are coaches that have done it and have been called out, but there are also for failing. But there are also coaches who have attempted it, failed, and still had their back was had by the media and their team. You know, like it comes to mind the coach from Detroit Lions, Dan Campbell. He's a gutsy kind of guy. Like it's in his persona to go for it. And, you know, he did something like that last year, I believe, in the playoffs, and it burned him. Yeah. But everyone's like, you know what? We're an aggressive, balls out, balls to the wall type of team. And that's how we play. And I guess if that's the makeup of your team, it doesn't surprise people when you do it. So, but obviously that wasn't the makeup of Tampa because, as you saw, they flipped the coin. They lost it. Baker Mayfield knew that was the end of his night. And Kansas City remains undefeated. So that's your dud of the night. I get it. My dud of the night, Sheldon, is we've seen this repeatedly. We see it a lot in the last couple of weeks. Guys carrying the ball into the end zone. And for some reason, it's happening in college. It's happening in the NFL. Dropping the ball before they get it. You get into the end zone. You want to make your coach pull his hair out. You want to get benched. Do this. This. And I think we have a video of we have a little montage video of this. All the times it's been done. Trey, we got the montage ready to roll.
Bosses will do that. Get a little toss back here. Corley, plenty of room all the way to the end zone. Malachi Corley, a rookie out of Western Kentucky, night reviewed.
The execution, everything's great. Oh boy, he dropped that ball. That's close.
And he's going to throw it long. And he's got a man there on the run. Kevin Clay. Gone. Touchdown. $79 yards for the score.
Well, he had 57 yards passing last week.
What's going on the field here? Wait a minute.
Pass. Just got the snap off. Cousins, rifle shot over the middle for Pitts. And Kyle Pitts gets loose again. And he's got his second of the day, I believe. Yes. It got a little dicey at the end. The near side official does rule a touchdown.
I think this is going to be really close. I don't think he realized the defender was as close to him. And take a look. He puts that ball down in his left hand.
Antoine
Winfield shows great.
Wilson gets protection, airs it out. Metcalf is there. And it's knocked out of the back of the end zone. Was he in? Play was made by.
Oh, my God.
Oh, my gosh. Thanks, Trey, for putting that together. I just said stop now as it was the last clip. So I appreciate you, Trey. But there's nothing more that drives me nuts. Did you see how good those plays were, the scoring plays that they were? You got all the crowd going nuts for you. You got mom in the stands loving you. Your girlfriend's loving on you. It's so hard to get a touchdown. Coaches scheme and plot like all night long. They get up at 4 a.m. They watch film. They go to bed at 2 a.m. They don't sleep to design and scheme plays that will get you an opportunity to score. And you drop the ball.
You can't change the mindset. Sometimes it's what drives guys to be great. But there's a lot of pretenders, and a lot of those were good receivers, don't get me wrong. But the guy that would rather look good than win, hey, something great happened. I am going to, and you know me, I'm the old guy throwing bricks at the TV screen. I would rather look good and make sure I stand out than to ensure that my team is rewarded for the success of that play. It drives me nuts.
Did you ever see
it's like what we're talking about, even with like young football players today, guys that are more worried about the drip. How do I look, coach? kids with two mouth guards, kids like that are rolling up taking out their knee pads in Pee-wee and Bantam football so they can roll their pants up like these guys.
And then they get taken off the field. Yeah, it drives me nuts. Have you ever seen a highlight video? Watch a highlight video of Barry Sanders touchdown reel. Every time he crosses the end zone, the ball went straight to the referee's hands. Every single touchdown, one of the greatest players to ever touch a field, one of the greatest players to ever carry a football. You talk about Saquon Barkley's great play he made. Barry Sanders put on a clinic every week when he carried the ball. And every time he got there, he took that ball, he tucked it in, and he brought it to the ref to ensure, one, that he scored, and two, because it wasn't about him. And the great ones practice the small things. The great ones do the little things great. And, like you said, hopefully this situation where a guy learns, but we've seen a lot of this in the last couple of weeks, not just guys carrying the ball. We talked last week about the Chicago Bears guy more concentrating on the fans and taunting the fans instead of dialing in on the last most important play of the game, the Hail Mary. He tips it into the Washington Commanders and got to win.
And I tell you what, Chev, I've got to get going because as I talked about, we've got a birthday celebration going out here. So we're not going to overtime. We're not going to do anything extra long. No overtime. But let me ask you this. Did you see the Bears game this week? Because something really peculiar happened again.
Yes.
And I don't know, Trey, do you have the video on this one? If you don't, that's fine. I know we're looking at it earlier. But this week, the Bears, who benched him, I can't remember the player's name, but
Eric Stevenson.
Yeah, Stevenson. They benched. He still played, right? He just didn't get the start. Okay, we don't have the video on this one.
That's okay.
But maybe we'll bring it in next week.
DJ Moore
on a play, where he's scrambling around, breaks contain a couple of times. The receiver who's running the scramble rules, at one point in the play, just gives up and walks off the field. Right as the quarterback spinning out and looking for an open receiver, and the receiver walks off the field, doesn't even look back, just goes sits down on the bench mid play. Quarterback has to scramble across the field again, throw it across, incomplete pass, punting.
Yeah. Caleb Williams did everything he could to keep that play alive for the Bears, and DJ Moore walked off straight, beelined it to the bench. Didn't even look back to see, like, he was done. He quit on his team, and we've seen this. We saw it in Indianapolis. Anthony Richardson. I mean, you're the quarterback of the team. You can't tap out because you're tired. And again, I feel bad because he's a young guy, and he said, "Listen, I was tired." You got to find a way to suck it up. You got to find a way to say, "Hey, coach, we need to call a run play because I need to catch my breath." But you can't you're the general on the team, and it's happening more and more in the NFL. You got guys calling out their quarterbacks, players in New Orleans talking about just how bad they are. Like, something's happening in the NFL. I think, when I boil it all down, Sheldon, and I know we got to go. When I boil it all down, I think what Trump started 6 years ago or 8 years ago, it's spilled into the NFL.
I'm not gonna let you get away with that, dude. Oh my god, that's the worst take ever.
I know.
You try doing that to a Trump-owned team. Trump wouldn't do that to anybody.
We had to end it off light. Hey guys, we're the Ride. I'm Chevy. He's Nasty. It was our 50th episode. Want to wish a very special happy birthday to Adric. We're getting Dad off the air earlier than midnight for once, guys. Thank you for joining us for the 50th episode for The Ride. We hope you're there for the next 50. Bring a friend, call your mom, tell them to listen. We're live every Tuesday, 10:30 Mountain Standard Time, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, all those places where you can find us. We love having you. We love this community. Let's grow it and enjoy. Drive safe out there. Get your winter tires. Don't be in the ditch like me. And we'll see you next week.